Thank you for joining me on this demo of Mediacloud.ai. Our goal for today is to give you a much better understanding of how our software works and the benefits that this technology can offer your content or marketing team. So let's jump right in and see this solar panel company that we've created a demo account for. Here we have our main dashboard. And on the left-hand side, you can see all the folders in which the footage is organized. Below that, we have customizable tags where we can select a particular product. Maybe we want to see some drone shots, and we can quickly mouse over the footage and get a pretty good overview of what it is that we have stored. Then on the right-hand side, we have our collections. And this is a way for you to organize your footage according to the projects that you're working on. So let's say, for instance, we're creating a social media campaign right now. We have some footage gathered already. Maybe we want to add a few clips. Maybe we want to remove one. And then I can just download it specifically to my computer, or I can send off a link to an external editor or some kind of stakeholder where I can set the expiration and I can set the password. If we go back and look at the individual clips that we have here, so we have these two service technicians and we want to take a look at this specific clip. We go into what's called clip attributes, and here of course I can see the specs for this particular clip, that it's a MOV file, I can see how big it is, resolution, frame rate, and so forth. Below that we can also see who uploaded it and when it was filmed. Then we have some GDPR attributes that I'll cover a little bit later in the demo. But it's definitely worth noticing how smooth the playback of this file is. So in other words, I can easily just mouse over the timeline here, or I can jump to certain sections of the video. And of course, this makes it very easy to see and find the right scenes in your footage. Below that, we have the consent forms for the two technicians that are in this shot, and I'll cover that a little bit later in the demo. So if we go back and we take a look at the upload section, here you simply drag and drop the files and batch upload them, and then you tag and figure out what folder you want to put them in, when they were filmed, and who the photographer were, and so forth. Very basic. As you can see, having all your source footage accessible and searchable is a great way to start recycling your footage more often. And the main reason we built this software from scratch is to handle these large video files in the cloud. But in order for your marketing team to constantly recycle footage, you need to make sure that you have all the necessary release forms and model contracts from all the participants in your archive. Remember, whenever your footage contains identifiable people, then GDPR rules apply and the footage needs to be treated accordingly. So let's take a look at how Mediacloud can handle different types of consent types and model contracts for you. So let's go in and have a closer look. I select consent forms out here on the left, and here you can see that I've already set up 3 types for this particular demo. We have a completely normal consent, we have a model contract that indicates some sort of payment, and then finally we have a staff consent, which is something that we would use to get signatures from people that actually work for this company. We can then go in and hit edit, and here we can see the attributes for this particular consent form. We can see the duration, so in other words, for how long are we planning on storing the footage, and we can also see the translations that we have available for this particular consent form. And if we hit edit here, we can see the actual consent text. And in the bottom, we also have included links, email link to the people that are in charge of privacy for this company. And we can also link to the privacy section of their website. So whoever signs this form has the actual contact details if they have any concerns about privacy related issues. This is typically something that we would set up with your legal team in the beginning. And this is based on our templates and the legal requirements from your company. The consent forms are rarely changed, but they can be updated in the system, and this will ensure that all new signatures are the right version. So let's take a look at projects. Let's close down the release forms. We go into projects, and this is where we can set up a project before we go film. So for this particular case, let's say I want to create a new session. And for this one, we want to use the consent forms that we had already set up, the templates. And for this one, I'm going to pick a normal one, and maybe we have some staff as well that we are onboarding. So for this particular project, these are the 2 release forms I want to use. Once I hit create, the system now knows that we have a pending new project, and we can take this URL and send it off to the people that will be on site during the filming. After clicking the URL and login, the crew can now see the name of the project, the company name, who created the project, and they can actually also go in and see the actual consent forms that were selected for this particular project. We go back and we can see that we have 0 participants that are signed up so far, and we just generate a QR code. Then the participants use their own phone, scan the QR code, and now we can see something interesting. It's asking whether or not I work for the company. And that is of course because we have selected 2 consent forms for staff and non-staff. So in other words, we say, well, we don't work for Solar Inc. And then it shows us the right consent form here in the top. I can expand and read it all. And of course I have to go all the way to the bottom to close it up. I put in my name, email, and I take a selfie. Then all I need to do is check that I read and accept the terms and conditions. I swipe, and now I'm fully good to go. And this large green check mark makes it easy for the crew to check that people are signed up. So let's go take a look at the list of participants we have. We can see that I was added in the bottom with the selfie that I just took. But let's go take a look at this particular profile. In the bottom here, we can see the consent form that she has signed. We can see the expiration date and when it was signed. We can also hit the PDF icon over there and see a copy of the actual contract that was emailed to the participant at the time of signature. We can also go in and take a look at the list of video clips that she is associated with. As you can imagine, this makes GDPR compliance much easier when you have to document participants' consent and list all the people you use in the videos you publish online. Some companies also tend to share their footage with partners and customers, and transferring this footage outside the EU without the proper consent is a serious GDPR offense. When we go back to projects and the photographer has uploaded the footage, then we can review it and we can make it public. This means that the footage is now available for everyone to use on the platform. When content recycling is done right, then we've seen our clients and their marketing teams put together short social media videos in less than 30 minutes. And this is without filming anything, just by recycling their B-roll. We've also seen other types of longer format corporate content using content recycling. And when the final edits were tested with the target audience, then 40 to 80% recycling did not reduce the perceived production value or messaging. So from a marketeer's perspective, it makes perfect sense to recycle more often. It's not rocket science, it's just a new way to think about how you can recycle your footage more often and boost your productivity. So thanks for watching this demo of Mediacloud.ai.